Welcome to Go Get Great, the podcast for aspiring entrepreneurs and ambitious small business owners. I'm your host, Brittany, owner of Brittany Miller Socials and mother of 3. Go Get Great is all about helping you make life and business work together. You'll learn about the fumbles that helped get me and my guests to where we are today so you don't have to make them. So come join the journey with Go Get Great. So good morning and welcome back to the Go Get Great podcast. Today we are going to be talking about why your marketing isn't working. So this is a question we ask ourselves often, or it might sound a little bit like, what am I doing wrong? There are loads of questions. These are loaded questions rather, all on their own, but they're usually followed by some sort of comparison. So-and-so is making more money than me. So-and-so has better clients. So-and-so is working less. And the comparison game is an instant fail. It's going to crush your mindset and your motivation. It's just all around not good. And the biggest thing with this is that looks are so deceiving. The business owner who seems to have it all together could be barely getting by financially or could be feeling so much burnout that they want to quit. So while I do think that it's important to evaluate your marketing efforts, please do not do it by comparing yourselves to others. So today we're going to talk about why your marketing isn't working, or at least why it feels like that, and how you can objectively pinpoint the areas that you need to work on to have that feeling of, yes, my marketing is working. This is awesome. So the biggest culprit here is mindset, like I mentioned. Most likely your marketing is working. It really is. It's just not working as fast as you want it to. So I get it. This is something that I struggle with too. And the best solution is really just to set realistic expectations for yourself and your current marketing efforts. So you're likely to gain 3 to 5 followers for every organic post that you make. So keep that in mind. Again, this is an average. It depends on how often you post, if you're using good posting techniques like hashtags, if you're creating content that adds value to your audience, the time of year it is. Christmas has decreased engagement rates all around. We're just getting out of that season. So hopefully everyone's going to see an increase in their results that way. But I really also want to note that new followers don't always mean more sales. People can follow you, but that doesn't mean that they're either truly your ideal client or that they're ready to invest like right now. They may not buy from you ever, but they're definitely not likely to buy right now, not usually. And this is where having a solid strategy to attract your ideal clients really comes into play, but we'll talk about that a little bit more later. The other big mindset shift that I really want to focus on right now is that it takes a lot of time for you to warm up your followers before they're ready to become a customer or a client in your business. This process can take, wait for it, 6 to 12 months or longer, especially if you're just using social media all on its own. So having that awareness, it's not like, oh, I posted 5 times this month. Where is all of this income for my business? No, you need to be posting consistently, often, with valuable content, and you need to be doing it for a very long time to see results from your social media, which is probably one of the most frustrating things that I see, because people have that overnight mentality when you need to have a crock pot mentality. You need to be in it for the long haul, and it's just got to be something that you get used to doing all on its own. So really tied to this, the second biggest issue that I see is usually that people are very focused on one thing. And you may even be doing that one thing really, really, really well. You're adding value, you're being consistent, you're doing all the right things, but you're only working on one piece of a much bigger puzzle. It's like putting all of the red pieces together and then assuming you're going to finish the whole thing. Seems silly, but most entrepreneurs fall into this trap. It's not usually intentional. We all know that there are other things that we need to be doing. They're probably even on your to-do list, but the challenge is fitting it all into a 24-hour work day, or ideally less, because no one should be working 24 hours. And as easy as it would be for me to say, just hire help, don't do it all yourself, problem solved, I know that it's not usually that simple or affordable. So I really want to share the process that you should have to get all of the pieces in place in the right order so that you're going to see the benefits from without hopefully feeling too overwhelmed. Now, I want you to know it's going to take time to complete all 6 of these steps. especially if you do not have a budget to invest in support at any of these places. But know that you are doing things in the right order, even if it's moving a little bit slower than you'd like it to. Okay, so step one is know who you are and what you offer. So most businesses will have done this when they first got started. You've picked a name, you've got branding for your business, branding being a logo, color, fonts, the voice and tone for your business. This is how you're recognized. You will also need a product and service that solves a problem for people. Otherwise, no one's going to buy anything from you. And it's fine if you have multiple products or services, but you need at least one. So that is core fundamental. Without that, you don't really have a business. Investing at this stage would be in your branding or the packaging for your product. You're building brand recognition and a cohesive look for your business. Step two is to get to know your customer. So this is where things can fall apart. We have a great idea and we assume that everyone is just going to get it and they're going to want what we have to offer. But really, we have to spend time researching and talking to our ideal clients to figure out what it is they struggle with, what frustrates them, all of those things. I tend to skip this step. I am a bad culprit of this. But this information is going to serve as the foundation for your messaging on your website and in your social media. So if you don't do this well, there are negative consequences. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. So investing at this stage would be in market research support and most likely in copywriting to craft compelling market messages and to create a brand voice guide. So likely getting help with your website at this stage. So the third step is to start telling people about what you do. So this is going to look different for different types of businesses. And there's a lot of different types of marketing too, but networking, talking to friends and family, for the most part, this is going to be social media related. So it's going to be your organic social media content specifically. And this is you putting your business out there and building a base of information for anyone that looks you up or finds you online. So investing at this stage would look like potentially hiring a graphic designer or even a social media manager to support you in the content creation pieces. So step 3.5 is creating a home base. So I'm calling this 3.5 because you can technically run your business without a website. It's just usually more challenging. People are going to look for a website to verify that you're a legitimate business, and your website also serves as a place to market your business. It's foundational to most of the next steps. You can use workarounds, but it's more challenging. And if you don't have a website, I would strongly suggest that this be something that you work on in the next little while, even if it's just one page to start. So investing at this stage is likely in website development and copywriting for your website, possibly even SEO if you wanted to do that as well. So step 4 is backing up your business. So many people akin building your business exclusively on social media to building it on a bed of quicksand. While it is a great reference, I think it's a little overused. I prefer to think of it as building your business in a Word document that you haven't saved yet. Sometimes you can come back to it later and it's still there. And sometimes everything is just gone and you have to start over and you kick yourself for not saving it in the first place. So email marketing is your way of backing up your business. It gives you a way to keep operating as usual, even if you suddenly lose access to all of your social media accounts. This is also how you're going to continue positioning yourself as an expert and eventually generate revenue for your business. So this is often where I find the process falls apart. By the time people tackle their social media, along with all of the general activities they have for running their business, they feel just incredibly overwhelmed, like there are not enough hours in the day and they don't think that they can add more to their plate. So what you haven't seen yet, if you're feeling this way, is that this step of adding email marketing is, and the next one, is actually going to make it easier for you to create social media content. And I also want to note that part of your email marketing is creating a lead magnet and sending regular emails, usually weekly. So it's not just a case of creating an email marketing platform, you actually have to use it, which is why so many business owners feel very overwhelmed at getting this step 4 all set up for their business. So investing at this stage would be in email marketing setup services. So hiring someone like me to come in and do all of the initial setup for you, support to create a lead magnet, either from a social media manager, someone like me, or a graphic designer, a VA. And you could also have ongoing email management services at this stage to help you get started and stay consistent with your email marketing, which will generate additional sales for your business. So step 5 is to pick your long form content. So I've talked about this in previous episodes. So this is the medium that you use to create a piece of long form content, ideally something that you release weekly, like a podcast, a blog, a vlog, recipes, weekly office hours, etc. I know this feels like even more work for you, but it's going to make it so much easier for you to do social media. It's going to actually save you time, not add more work to your plate. And the reason it actually makes your workload easier is because you're going to take this piece of long form content and like imaginarily cut it into pieces that you're then going to turn into social media posts, and your weekly email is basically just going to be a reminder to your list to check out this new valuable resource with a couple key points about why they need to spend time looking at this. So this process not only helps you be consistent with your social media and emails, but it ensures that you're also adding value to your audience, giving people a reason to follow you on social media and a reason to join and stay on your email list. So this is really key. So investing at this stage will look different depending on the type of long form content you create. If you're podcasting, it could be in a podcasting setup or ongoing editing and management services, something we also offer at Brittany Miller Socials. If you're vlogging, it would include potentially video editing services. Excuse me. If you decided to go the route of blogging, then maybe you're hiring a copywriter to just do the writing for you. Maybe you're not even writing the blogs yourself. So step 6 is to scale. So I want to preface this by saying that there are likely a lot of non-marketing related steps that need to happen before you can actually move on to step 6, because you need to ensure that your business is actually set up to scale in a manageable and aligned manner. So you may need to automate your systems. You might have to hire staff. Each business is going to be different, but once you have all these other marketing steps in place, then this is your next marketing step. There might just be a very big gap between when you enter step 5, let's say, and step 6. So it could be like a year or two in between while you get all these other things in place. So it's not meant to be a quick process. But to scale, you're going to invest. So to scale, you're going to invest in paid advertising. This isn't to say, like I said, that you won't have other investments before this, but at this point, you actually have to put money on the line, even if you did everything else by yourself, because paid ads serve to amplify your message. So again, usually this is done through Facebook and Instagram. Those are the primary platforms that businesses use for marketing, but you can also scale with paid ads on TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, pretty much any kind of social media platform. And what this does is it brings more people to you once you have the fundamentals in place and have tested your products, your services, your processes, and your marketing message. So investing at this stage would be your paid ads budget and possibly a paid ad strategist to help you maximize your ad spend so that you're not just throwing money into a void and hoping it works. So like I mentioned before, most business owners, especially teams of one, tend to stop at step 3. They're being consistent on social media, but they're not seeing the growth they want because they're not utilizing the most effective sales strategy, which is email marketing. So I laid out this process in these steps because it is a process and you need to follow it in this order. I see so many entrepreneurs try and jump around. They decide to skip organic social media posting altogether because they want the faster results that paid ads get, but they haven't tested their messaging. So then they spend a bunch of money and then they don't end up with any new clients in their business, and then they're more frustrated. Or business owners will create a blog and post to it regularly, then wonder why no one's reading the amazing insights they're sharing. This was me, by the way. People can't read things that they don't know exist. So you've got to talk about your blogs on your social media, and you have to build an email list to remind people every week that you've created these new valuable insights. So all of these steps or elements work together to grow your business. If you're not getting results from your marketing efforts, it's likely because you've skipped some of the initial phases or steps, or you've stayed comfortable at the step you're at right now, when really what you need to do is move on to the next one. Like continuing to post organic content, when really what you need to be doing is setting up an email list to grow your sales. Okay, so having a process is great, but if you can't pinpoint the problem, processes don't work. So aside from thinking about and acknowledging that you may have skipped some of the initial steps, hi, that's me, I skipped step 2. In the first place, then you need to start pinpointing the problem that you're at now, as there are likely much smaller problems that are not maybe as obvious to you as to why this is causing an issue. So that's what I'm going to indicate. Now, I'm not going to be able to include absolutely every single thing in each of these, but I'm going to outline some of the most common ones that I tend to see for people and the solution that the problem has to help you continue moving through these steps to grow your business. Okay, problems in step one, which is know who you are and what you offer. So the main problem here is that you don't have an easily identifiable brand. Successful businesses have recognizable brands, whether they're a business or a person that's an influencer. You know it's them by what you see that's associated with them. Nike has the swoosh, Apple has the Apple icon, and Think Different as their expression. Some businesses are just known for their colors. But all of these components work together in your marketing to create these recognizable elements. And if people look at two pieces of your content on social media and they can't immediately tell that they're from the same business, your business, that's a problem. So the other problem here, which is usually less common, is that you don't love what you do. So maybe you've been in business for a little while and one of your products or services just doesn't bring you as much joy anymore. If it does not light you up, change it. Like right away. You cannot sell something that you are not excited about because you will not have the excited energy needed to market the product and talk about it over and over and over. People buy excitement and enthusiasm and solutions to their problems. But unless you are literally the only person on the planet that does what you do, which in current days and age is very unlikely, you need to be very excited about what it is, or people will find someone else who is. Because no one wants to work with the person that's like, yeah, this sucks, but like, we're going to do it. No, that does not seem fun. That does not seem enjoyable. So to solve these problems, really what you need to do is you need to make changes, especially like right away if you do not love what you do, like I said, and you need to spend some time rebranding or building a stronger brand recognition within your existing components. So maybe you have a logo and colors that you use and you're just not using them consistently. So just start throwing them into every single thing that you put out there. That's going to help a lot. And this is when investing in a graphic designer or professional branding help can be really helpful for your business. Okay, problems in step two, know your customer. So I mentioned the biggest problem here earlier is that most people don't think they need to get to know their customers. They assume incorrectly people will immediately see their product or service and understand the value that it offers telepathically. They just instinctively know. They so wish that were true, but it is not. And like I mentioned, I've learned this the hard way. Talking to people about my own products and services, oftentimes I feel like all I do is talk about it and explain the value in it and why everybody needs this. And then I'll talk to someone else and they'll be like, oh, I didn't know you offered that. Or I didn't know that's what was included in this service. That's exactly what I need right now. And I was like, are you kidding me? This is all that I do. And it's so frustrating, but it has really taught me a valuable lesson about the importance of market research and in the copy and content that addresses the pain points and frustrations people are having. You need to talk about it the way your audience and your customers, your ideal clients are thinking about it so that they're resonating with the message. This is not a spot for business jargon and lingo. This is not a spot for professional product photos. You've got to get into the heads of your customers. Okay, so this problem surfaces in social media content and websites primarily, but it also can be an issue when you even just talk about your products. So another sign this is a problem you need to address is if you don't have many people purchasing or booking calls with you, or if they book calls but they don't buy. Likely they've got off the call and they couldn't clearly envision how you would solve their problem, or it's pricing related, but usually it's about unclear messaging. So you'll need to conduct more market research to learn how people phrase their frustrations, investing in that copywriting help that I've been talking about to clear up your website and your social media captions, even your emails, because you do not want to leave your readers with question marks. Okay, so problem in step 3, which is start telling people about what you do. So once you hit the realm of social media, there's actually a lot of things that can cause problems. Sorry to say that, or slow your progress. So like I mentioned, I can't cover all of these in detail, but I will highlight some of the most common ones. So one problem is being on the wrong platform. You won't see the growth that you're looking for if the people that you need to talk to aren't on the platform you're using. So solving this goes back to getting to know who your customers are and what platforms they hang out on, where they consume content. So another problem is you're not getting enough followers. So this one is a little bit of like a twofold solution. The issue usually starts with you not having a well-crafted bio that explains what your business does and how you help. And when people find you online, they're going to check your bio. And if they can't immediately see how you solve a certain problem that they have, they're not going to hit follow because they're not going to wait for you to eventually get around to telling them about it. It's just a no for them. The second piece is that you're not focusing on creating value add content, which gives people a reason to follow you. Addressing your bio is the first step, and having free resources, or I have a free resource rather, Instagram bios that convert checklist that you can download using the link in the show notes. So another problem is you're losing a lot of followers. So similar to above, you're likely not creating valuable content, which gives people a reason to stick around and continue to see your content. Maybe all you do is sell, which is a huge turnoff. And it doesn't give people a reason to follow you after they've made a purchase. So you want to retain everyone even after they purchase, because eventually you're going to hope that they come back and purchase again, and they're never going to do that if they're still not following you on social media. So the solution to this is to have a solid content strategy that adds value and supports your business goals. So another problem is you're not selling products and services on your social media. So there are very few causes. So there are a few causes to this rather. So for starters, you might not be talking about how people can work with you and then inviting them to do so enough. They might not be seeing your content enough to be ready to buy when you have an offer come up. And the root cause to this is that you're not transitioning people to your email list so you can sell to them there. So the solution, again, having a solid content strategy, reoccurring theme here. And also, well, a strategy that is educating your audience on how they can work with you, and then also inviting them to do so or to join your email list so that you can nurture and sell to them there. All right, here's hoping I don't lose my voice before the end of this episode. Okay, problems in step 3.5, creating a home base. So website issues usually are indicated by traffic. So lots of people visiting your website, but then no one's taking action. So this could be that the wrong people are coming to your site. Again, go back to step 2, getting to know your ideal clients. And also making your marketing messages more clear. But it's usually that they've read a few things, and can't understand how you help them, or they're confused about how to navigate on your website to find the information that they need to make an informed buying decision. So you can track your website traffic on your website platform, or Google Analytics is another good option. So a simple solution here is just to ask a friend to try and find some info on your website to navigate around and then ask for their feedback. If the navigation doesn't seem to be the issue, they can figure out where everything is, then your issue needs to be solved, or will likely be solved with copywriting. If it's a navigation issue, then that's a website developer redesign issue, and that's what you need to focus on. But most likely it's copywriting and the messaging that are leaving people with question marks. And like we've already established, you don't want to do that. Okay, problems in step 4, backing up your business. So the biggest problem here is that you're not creating lead magnets that entice people to join your email list, and you're not talking about your lead magnets enough. So the money for your business is in your list. So you really, really want to spend some time thinking about the problems and frustrations that your customers or future customers have, and what kind of resources you can create to address one of those problems for them now. Think quick wins. So if your lead magnet isn't growing your list, it could be that the topic doesn't solve their problem, or it could be the messaging isn't clear, like the title. They don't really understand the outcome that they're going to get by downloading it, so then they don't download it. Or maybe they're downloading it, but it's not really solving their problem, so then they're going to unsubscribe from your list. And again, people can't sign up to your email list to get this amazing resource if you never tell them about it. So you need to be shouting from the rooftops about your lead magnet, and you need to do it over and over and over again, much like your services. You should treat your lead magnet like a service, because it will eventually generate money for your business. So again, the solution to this twofold. You need an email marketing strategy that aligns with your services so that your lead magnet actually attracts the people that will eventually need to hire you for your service. And then having a social media strategy to promote your lead magnet and support your email growth. Again, social media strategy. Problems in step 5, picking your long form content. So I mentioned the biggest issue before, and it's usually that you're not talking about your long form content enough for people to know about it and consume it regularly. So the smaller problem is that you've picked a long form content that you don't enjoy or that you don't have the skills to execute regularly. That does happen sometimes, but usually it's that you're not talking about it enough. But if you're not really good at video editing, then again, I wouldn't recommend you pick a blog. So pick something that you're going to enjoy doing over and over again and that you have the skills to execute, and gives you the opportunity to position yourself as an expert, sharing your knowledge with your audience. So as a side note, if you do have a budget to outsource the parts that you don't enjoy, like video editing for vlogs, then go ahead and choose whatever. But know that it's going to take quite a while for you to see a return on your investment, likely 6 or 12 months. Like my podcast is approaching a year, and I'm still not sure that I'm actually making money from my podcast, so to speak. Likely some of the people that are on my email list now that will purchase from me in the next few months came from podcast listens, but that's not necessarily a clear revenue thing that I can track. So just like keep that in mind. Don't be like, oh, well, I'll invest in video editing and then in a couple months it'll pay for itself. No, not how that works. So again, the smaller issues I see with the long form content is that people don't use it effectively to grow their social media presence, but more importantly, your email list. You need to talk about your lead magnets and mention your services in your long form content. Make sure that you leverage it to support your business goals. And that happens by growing your email list and then inviting people to work with you, which you'll notice I do at the end of this episode, because if I didn't, I'd be a bit of a hypocrite. So problems in step number 6, scaling. So the biggest problem with scaling is doing so before you're internally ready to support the additional demand. So attempting to scale before you're ready will result in a loss of money from ad spend. As I mentioned before, you need to spend time on organic marketing to know your offer and messaging is solid. Even if you've tested your messaging, you can still lose your money in your ad spend if you don't have the proper strategy in place to do this. So like I've said before, I'm not a paid ad strategist. I'm not going to talk about things that I don't fully understand yet, but I know, because I'm learning since I just hired a paid ad strategist, that there's a lot that goes into figuring it out, because I am now at step 6 in my marketing and we are working on scaling this year. So you also have to have the budget to support this growth. And like I said earlier, unlike other areas where investing is optional, you have to have an ad spend budget for this. And they usually recommend a minimum of $500 a month. And that's on like a pretty tight budget. Like that's bare minimum. You really should have more than that, especially during like peak launch times. And yeah, so my course, which I'm hoping to use paid ads to grow, is scaling my business for this year. Full disclosure, they've recommended a $4,000 budget just to promote the live webinar that I'm hosting. So that's like in addition to the $500 a month, that's like the mandatory minimum for everything else. Eyes flew out of my head when I saw that number. I was not expecting that. So yeah, you can get great results from paid ads, but you have to be in a position to be able to support that. So know that this is not a step you want to take lightly, and you need to be ready. And the reason that I'm choosing to scale my business this year is because courses are easily scalable. I would not be scaling my one-on-one social media services because there are a fixed number of hours in the day. I can only create so much content for my clients. So you, like I said, have to have the internal resources available to support that demand. So either I'd have to hire like 6 staff members to take on more social media management clients, which is not something I'm prepared to do right now, or you need to choose something that's actually scalable and in an easy and aligned way, like I mentioned. Okay, yes, solid ad strategy with this, budget to support it. So the solution here is to ensure your business can actually support the scaling and has the budget for the strategy. Wonderful. All right, well, there you have it. The reason your marketing isn't working, it's likely that you're not following the marketing process that I've outlined here, or there are sub problems within the steps that you're at that you need to just make a few small adjustments with to get you back on track. So now you should be able to identify the problem you're facing and the solution to resolve the problem to continue on in your marketing journey. So knowing your marketing strategy needs to be more than just one thing, one piece of the marketing puzzle, is the first step to understanding why your marketing doesn't feel like it's working. So if you're like many business owners who are just marketing on social media, you're hindering the potential of your business by ignoring the other steps that support your business goals too. And now you have a roadmap to further your growth. So I find most business owners struggle the most with step 3, since there are just so many different ways to market your business organically, and each platform has different practices and preferences. So your organic marketing, so it also crosses over into step 4, as promoting your email marketing tends to primarily happen on social media. And step 5 and 6 also hinge on having a solid social media strategy. You also promote and grow your long form content audience on social media. And while running paid ads, you still need to have an active organic presence. So when people see your paid ads and check out your profile, they can see that you're an active business and are able to learn more about you and how you can help them. So step 3 is kind of key and very fundamental to continuing on in the journey. So if you'd like support with your social media strategy to set you up for success as you move through these steps and see your business grow, then definitely make sure you connect with me about my quarterly content plan. You can simply DM me plan on social media or send me an email at hello@brittanyMillerSocials.ca. So thank you again for listening, and I hope to see you all next week. I really hope that you found this episode very helpful in your marketing journey, and just like in general, connect with me and send me a message. Let me know what step you're at, what problem you're facing, and we'll see if we can work through it together in the Instagram DMs. So we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Go Get Great. I hope you found some useful tips and tricks that can help you make life and business work together. If what I said resonates with you, please share it on social media, and don't forget to tag @BrittanyMillerSocials so that I can celebrate you for taking those first steps towards achieving greatness. Remember, success doesn't happen overnight. It takes dedication, hard work, and a lot of spirit. So don't be afraid to dream big and go after what you want. Keep striving for greatness. You get closer with every step forward, no matter how small they may seem. Until next time, go get great.